The purpose of the Civil Defence Shelter Blast Wave tests was to see how an above-ground concrete element, Type 3 Civil Defence shelter, meeting the requirements of the K-class and complete with all the civil defence equipment installed, would withstand the technical loads laid down by the existing civil defence legislation, the decrees and the K-class. The first explosion caused no changes to the outer appearance of the shelter. The internal pressure remained particularly small, minus 1.5 kilopascals. The limit beyond which the eardrum sustains damage is 35 kilopascals. In all the explosions, the wall's vertical seams remained sealed, but some minor distortion could be seen in the roof seams, which did not, however, affect the shelter ceiling. The latch mechanism of the door of the civil defence shelter bent a little, and between the door and the frame there was some slight play. This was an SOK door, that is, a K-class civil defence shelter door and a K-class valve. The S1 and K-class civil defence equipment inside the shelter remained fully functional throughout the explosions. After the TNT explosion, the bulk explosions carried out all followed the same pattern. The explosives were loaded at predetermined places, whose distance from the shelter was measured according to the demands of the test. The explosions were followed from a safe distance, and the research equipment was partly in the research bunker where the researchers could observe it, and partly in the shelter that was the target of the explosions. This is what happened with the first bulk explosion. The triggering of over 25 tons of explosives shows in the terrain. The blast crater was impressive.
Räjähdyspaikalla syntynyt monttu on halkasijalta noin 20-25 metriä syvyyttä, ehkä tuommoinen 5-6 metriä. Kallio on tullut esille ja se on osin hajonnut. Tässä voi kuvitella kyllä mitä varsinainen tuommoinen pieni ydinase saa aikaisiksi, jos ajatellaan, että maassa räjäytetään, niin kyllä jälki on melkoista.
Inside the shelter there was still no problem. The internal pressure change was still only minus 1.3 kilopascals. The overpressure valve, which was barred open, had closed normally and was in working order. Then on to the third explosion. This was the biggest of the whole test series. The weather when it was triggered was foggy, but there was no doubt about the moment it was exploded. But inside it was still safe.
Tarkastelun sisällä osoittaa, että ei mitään vaurioita, ei ole ilmanvaihtolaitteissa, ei venttiileissä, eikä rakenteissa. Ovelle ei ole tapahtunut mitään muodonmuutoksia.
The last bang of the test series is being prepared. 23.6 tons of explosives would soon be blown up. There it went.
Etäisyyttä räjähdyspaikkaan katselupaikalta on 7 kilometriä. Paineaalto tuli noin 20-25 sekuntia jälkeen varsinaisen räjähdyksen.
At the time of the fourth explosion, the internal pressure was plus 4.7 kilopascals, which remained well below the 35 kilopascal level at which the ears would be damaged. The extension changes of the shelter structures were at most 0.08 promiles. The shelter was already looking ugly, but when people survived such severe explosions, thanks to the high quality and reliability of finished work, then even ugly is beautiful.